shading techniques. These are really great things to use for a lot of different drawings that you may have. And then it's nice to learn them here, and then you can apply them to different types of media, whether it be clay or painting or linoleum carving or anything along those lines. Glazing even, it's really nice to learn those. So I would like you to turn your paper horizontally. It will make it easier. And then on the top of your page, you are going to label it Shading Techniques. All right, so Shading Techniques on the top of your page. We're gonna go through 6 different shading techniques, and I'm gonna show you a good way and a bad way of doing things. The first one we are going to do is called hatching. So we're gonna come over here and label it hatching. So hatching is pretty easy. It's a really nice technique that can be used for many, many different things. There's a wide variety. So hatching is when you take your pencil, put it on the paper, and go down. All right, so you're just making lines on your paper. The closer the lines are together, the darker it's gonna be. The farther apart, the lighter it's going to be. And you can change how hard you press your pencil. So this is a good version. You put your pencil down, you drag it, and then you stop. All right, the bad version is when people try to do this. Okay, that's just scribbling. You don't want to do that. Hatching doesn't have to be just up and down. It can be diagonal. It can be whatever way you want, just as long as the lines are parallel to each other and they start and have a starting point and a stopping point. Pretty easy, right? The next thing is going to be cross hatching. Cross hatching. And I'm sure some of you are guessing what that could be and are probably right. So cross hatching is a lot like hatching. It is sort of like hashtags. You can do 2 like a hashtag, you can do 3 across, it doesn't really matter, but the more hashtags or cross hatches that you put on top, the darker it's going to be. There's no really rhyme or reason to them. The farther away the cross hatches, the lighter it gets, okay? So this is the happy version. So you're just making cross hatches. Now this is sort of a messy one, but a lot of times they are sort of messy. You don't have to have it be perfect, but that's cross hatching. The bad way of cross hatching is this. Okay, that's not cross hatching. You're just making a grid or a checkerboard. We don't want to do that. The next one is called stippling. So stippling. Stippling can get pretty annoying, but it really can have a cool effect. I love looking at pictures that are done just solely stippling altogether. It's fantastic and tedious, and I don't know if I could make a picture just out of stippling because it would take forever. So stippling is where you go like this. All right, and you just make dots on your paper. Try not to make lines, although sometimes it's hard if you're going fast, but you want to make little dots on your paper. The more dots that are closer together, the darker it's going to be. So you can see, like, I'm trying to make this middle part darker here. It takes a long time. Okay, but it's fantastic for so many different things and different textures and can look really cool. All right, so that's the good version. The bad version is, and this seems silly to me, but I always have somebody try to do this, is when you make circles. People actually make little circles. That's not stippling. That's just making circles. Okay, let's see here. We have hatching, cross hatching, stippling. Let's do smudge. Actually, yeah, we'll do smudge. Okay. So smudging, it works best with a wooden pen. I would say any of these shading techniques work a little bit better with a wooden pencil. You can see I'm using one instead of a mechanical pencil. If you don't have a wooden pencil, then that's fine, but especially when you start getting to draw and you are really working on your skills, wooden pencils are so much better to use. So smudging, I'm sure you guys sort of have an idea or have done it before. I don't want to do it super hard, right? So I'm going to do sort of a medium tone here, a medium tone. All right, so I'm gonna do that. And then what I can do is I can either take my finger, or if you don't like getting your fingers dirty, a tissue works fantastic. Not necessarily a paper towel, but a tissue. And you are going to smudge it. All right, so you really wanna try to get those sides blended in, and that's why you don't wanna go too dark. So I'm smudging it, I'm moving the pencil around. This is the good version. Now, the bad version is where you make a really dark area and you smudge it and the edges are not blended whatsoever. So the edges aren't blended. You can really see, like this edge is visible here. I could totally fix that, but you can see this edge over here blended in. None of these edges are blending in. You don't want that, right? You do not want that to be like that. As I was talking, I just reminded myself we have 7 techniques, not 6, because I totally forgot about this guy, tone. He's pretty easy. Tone is great for filling in larger areas. You don't want to, it's sort of like scribbling, but a controlled scribbling, I guess. So you're gonna take your pencil. I usually will make a flat spot, so somewhere on your page, maybe up in the corner, just go like this with your pencil, make a flat spot with your pencil. And then you come in here, and tone is where you have, it's just putting pencil on the page, but it's nice and even. You can see that it's an even tone. There's not a lighter area or darker area. That is what you want with tone. That is good. A bad tone would be when it's like dark, and then it gets lighter in areas, and dark and lighter. That is not what you want. And it looks messier, it's not neater. That's bad. Okay, so tone is really nice and smooth and pretty. The next one is gradation. Gradation. This technique you're going to use for any of these here, well, except for tone, but you will use them for any of these. So gradation means that you're going from dark to light, and it is really nice and smooth like that. So again, make a flat spot. I think I have one still, just check here. Make a flat spot with your pencil, and I am just going to go really dark and then lighten up as I go along and get it as light as I can get it. That is gradation. Dark to light or light to dark, whichever way works, but it's nice and smooth. There's no breaks in it, those kinds of things. So a bad gradation would be go from dark and maybe it's lighter and you're really trying to get it dark and there's a light darker spot there on accident. Something along those lines where it's not super smooth. So you can see it's not really super visible. It's not like that. It's not crazy, but there's this darker area in here that probably could be fixed a little bit more. So gradation, you really want it to have this nice, smooth, dark to light. Cool? Okay, and then we have our last one, actually, and that is accent line. Accent line. So what I want you to do is not press super hard, just do a medium, and you're gonna do a circle. So I'm just pressing normal, and then you're gonna do a triangle behind your circle. Doesn't matter if they're not perfect, it's okay. So an accent line is where you have two objects that are next to each other, and when you start to shade them, they blend in too much, and you can't tell really the difference between the foreground and the background object, and we don't want that. We want to be able to see the difference between the two. So an accent line is where you are going to separate them, but separate them in a nice way, I guess. So you're gonna start, and I want you to watch me do this before you do anything. So you're gonna start on the side here, and I'm gonna use the same pressure I used to create my circle with. So same pressure, and as I get to where they intersect, I'm gonna start to press down harder. So I'm press hard. When they go to intersect again, I'm gonna lighten up my pressure to the same pressure I did my circle with. So I'm gonna go back in here again. So you can see that that line is darker there, and it's nice and blended out. So that's what you want. You want it to be dark, and then where they intersect, you want it to blend back out into that circle. So this is a good version. A bad version, real quick, is where it's just like this. That's bad. Okay, so you can see it's not blended, it's just this harsh black line. That is something that you don't want to do. You want to have it be nice and smooth. And that concludes our shading techniques for today.